Welcome to the Style Arcades podcast brought to you by Victoria Leeds. Style Arcades is your front row seat to the world of fashion, lifestyle and culture, where trends meet timeless conversations. Join me, Michelle Eagleton, as we chat you through the latest in fashion, beauty, home, lifestyle, and so much more, all through the lens of designer brands and local influencers. We'll be delving behind the scenes into the stories behind the brands that you'll find in our centre, plus giving you the latest trends and tips to enhance your very own style. Our gorgeous studio is styled by North Home, and the wonderful artwork is brought to you by Castle Fine Art. Let's get started. Well, welcome to the Style Arcades podcast, and I am so pleased to be joined in our studio with two wonderful and very stylish ladies. Welcome, ladies. We've got the founder and creative director of Missoma, Marisa Hordern. Welcome.
Hi.
And we have got model, body confidence activist, and the woman behind Liberty Free to Be, Rachel Peru.
Morning.
What do you think of our studio?
It looks
Lovely
great.
done.
Yeah,
It
really
looks
good.
great. Very cosy, and I think we look great. I mean, I did not get the memo, neither did you.
Yes.
We came.
Colour coordinated.
This is women in sync. This
Exactly.
really is.
It is.
And we're here in Victoria Leeds, and I know both of you are big fans of our centre. Rachel, let me take you back to your first visit to Victoria Leeds. Do you remember what you bought?
I think actually it was something from Anthropology. I think it was a really nice, like a big sort of dress, flowing dress, denim dress.
Lovely.
But I mean, I've been coming into Leeds since I'm from Yorkshire. I lived in Ilkes. I've been coming into Leeds since I was about 13, shopping and spending my money on clothes. So it's just got better and better.
Yeah, it is fabulous. I mean, for you as well, it has a special place because Leeds was where you chose for your first standalone store outside of London. Why was that?
Exactly, and we could have chosen anywhere, and we did go all over looking at so many different cities, so many different venues. And when I walked into the Victoria Quarter in the arcade, I was like, this is magical. It just has this heritage. It feels welcoming and warm, but at the same time, just really ornate. And there's this mix of modern and old, and then the brands here are amazing. I actually was blown away by the level of brands and the different types of brands. I was like, well, I could shop here. I could spend all day here. And then the restaurants, you know, you've got the Ivy, you've got the Cut. And I was like, well, if I can shop here, then I know our customer is going to love shopping, not only here for all these other brands, but us, you know, coming and offering, you know, what we do as well. So we're so excited to be here.
Oh, we're excited to have you. And you talked about kind of the style and the look. Not only is style important in your jewellery, but in your stores as well, because you really are hands-on with that. What is the influence there?
Well, I have to say, it is a passion of mine, interiors. I love decorating. And so doing our bricks and mortar stores has been just a dream come true. And it does take about 6 months for us to go from concept to the actual, you know, seeing the store come to life. And a lot of it does come from my own interiors at home. And a lot of it comes from, I suppose, our personality as a brand. We want to always be bold, confident, fun, playful. I just think there are a lot of beige kind of shops out there, and to walk into a space where you go, oh, this is a bit fun, I think that's really important. And then also experiences are another thing that's really key for our customers. And we were just talking afterwards whether you guys want to come and get welded or pierced. I think going in and having an experience becomes a whole nother thing, especially, you know, when you're buying jewelry. It's so emotional, it's so personal. And, you know, I just got, you know, welded with my mum, or I took my goddaughter to get pierced. So I think it's just a wonderful thing to do together with, you know, a colleague, a friend, a loved one.
Yeah, and it is important, isn't it? As a consumer, it's important, that experience. You want to remember that, don't you? Like you remembered your first visit.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, you know, as women, quite often we are struggling for time, so that when we do go shopping, we want it to be that kind of treat. We want it to feel like we're having a really lovely time and a lovely experience. And the decor and the ambience of the Victoria is just so special. Yeah, that it just makes you feel like you're having a really indulgent day.
Yeah, exactly. You can do it all in one day.
Yeah.
Just have this wonderful day out, a treat, whether it's tea, lunch, etc., a glass of bubbly with friends. It just feels a bit decadent.
Yeah, it does.
Well, we know where we're going later, don't we?
Yes.
Ladies? Now, we could spend all day in Missoma and, you know, just have a play with the incredible jewellery. Take us back, though, to the beginnings of it, because you really love jewellery from an early age. You were collecting gemstones around the age of like 5?
Exactly. I mean, apart from the fact that Missoma started, I mean, a long time ago now, it was 2007. Had been collecting gemstones since I was about 5 with my mother. I would always go to like little antiques markets and down Portobello Road. I'm from London, and always collect gemstones. And my room was just full of them. And everyone used to say, "Where do you get your energy from?" And the joke was the crystals. So fast forward, you know, I don't know, 20 years later, and when I left my corporate job, I'd been doing this on the side, hand beading around the kitchen table with my mum. It was definitely like something we loved to do together, a bonding thing. And I was then selling it, like taking my role and, you know, literally like a kind of
Proper little entrepreneur.
dealer, kind of going to the stores and unraveling my role and sort of trying to sell them, you know, my jewellery. And sort of did it the hard way. And in those days, there was no, you know, Google. There was no, you know, you couldn't just look up, right, where do I get it manufactured? I had to go and find every single factory. I went to trade shows all around the world. I did every single press visit. I did every single wholesale sell-in. So I think you have to be able to teach by example, having done the hard graft yourself.
Does that make it more kind of gratifying and worth it when it becomes what you dreamt?
Definitely. I mean, I think it took way too long. I think I did it more organically, and I think I could have done it smarter. And so anytime that I can help anyone cut those corners and do it quicker, that's always great. But I do think that by having had that long, you know, hard graft, it makes you appreciate the good times so much more. And it also makes you stronger in terms of the perseverance you've had to, you know, go through. It means you've been through the ups and the downs. You know there'll be more ups and downs because nothing carries on either, you know, like this forever or linear. So I think it just sets you in better stead. And, you know, as women, we know how to multitask. We know how to try and do it all. Then you have a family as well. And so there's a lot competing for your attention, your time. And I think it's a really great learning curve.
Yeah, and I feel blown away the fact that you just said that you started at your kitchen table and to now what it's become. Did you ever have that pinch me moment?
I mean, there've been so many. I think the first is seeing someone walking down the street wearing your jewellery, because that's real, right? It's all about your customer. So you just want people to feel happy wearing your jewellery. You want them to feel confident. You want them to, as you said, remember when they bought it, why they bought it. I would say the first time it was on a front cover on, I think it was, you know, again, back in like 2007 on J-Lo, who again is just as relevant now.
I love it. Just that name. J-Lo was wearing your jewellery. Wow.
But probably the most insane moment came, I don't know if it was a year and a half ago now, the Barbie movie. So I think we've always been one of those brands that, you know, we don't pay to be worn down the red carpet. We're more kind of grafter roots. We're a bit more sort of low key than that. We're the ones they choose to wear, and it might be to the supermarket, it might be to the airport, it might be on holiday, and we never know who's going to wear it because a lot of it is really organic. And so when we saw it in the Barbie movie, and which became a cultural phenomenon, and also a moment that really was about female empowerment, finding your own confidence, your own.
Was the Barbie wearing it, Margot Robbie?
Yeah, but I mean, in that scene at the end when it zooms in on that heart, which symbolises, you know, love and her finding self-love. So it had that meaning as well behind it. It just was something that no money could pay for, you know? And, you know, there are other huge brands in there like Chanel, etc. And you're just thinking, wow, you know.
That is a moment, honestly.
Yeah.
And yourself, I mean, gosh, you've had pinch me moments. We'll go on about kind of how you rose to where you are now, but going on a photo shoot with Ashley Graham, right? Doing swimwear, and then next moment, you're with Davina McCall. What is life like for you, Rachel?
Yeah, certainly not what I expected it to be, that's for sure. I mean, I would never have been doing this when I was in my 20s and 30s. I found this confidence later in life. So when I started modelling at 46, I thought it might have been like lifestyle QVC type work, which is great, and I've done that.
I've done that too.
But I thought I thought that at my age group, that's all it would kind of attain to. And within my first year, I found myself modelling swimwear at 47. Eagleton, alongside Ashley Graham, Elaine Irwin, some amazing models in the Bahamas.
And Lizzo, let's not forget Lizzo.
Yeah, and the feedback I got from other women my age saying, thank you, there's a body there that I can relate to of my age group. That just spurred me on. So it's just kind of developed from there. And then I did an active wear campaign with Davina McCall, and it's just kind of grown over the last 8 years, and I absolutely love doing what I'm doing now.
And what are they like? Are they your besties now?
They're busy women, aren't they? I learnt a lot from them. I definitely came back a different person after spending a week with Ashley Graham and being surrounded by people like Lizzo, because their confidence and their body confidence is really infectious.
Yeah.
And they are how you imagine them to be, which I was really relieved, because sometimes when you have these icons in your head, meeting them can be a disappointment, and they really did deliver. They were fantastic to be around.
Oh.
So they did have a big impact on how I felt about my body.
Absolutely.
And we were talking earlier about confidence and how we all three of us, feel more confident now at the age we are now. Yeah. And I consider myself a late bloomer, and we were just saying we would have never dreamt that we could have grown into our confidence, as we have in the last few years, and having the best time of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm doing a lingerie shoot tomorrow. I never imagined, I'm 55 soon, I never imagined I'd be doing this when I was younger. Me going on the beach in a bikini in my 20s and 30s I hated it. I was, mortified.
Well,
so to do it...
Completely different career.
Yeah, I have,
you?
yeah.
I mean, you were trained to be a school teacher. You go from teaching children to kind of doing shoots.
Yeah, it's a very different lifestyle, that's for sure. And I wasn't ready for it then. I do believe that we all have a right time in life, and this is my time for me to have grown into myself, I think.
What was that like, though, making that leap? Was it an overnight thing? Because you were on a charity catwalk, and then how did you then end up on these shoots?
Yeah, a friend volunteered me to do a local Macmillan cancer charity show. I'd never done anything like that before. Said yes. Several gin and tonics later, walked on the catwalk, managed to stay upright. But I loved it, and I came off there feeling really empowered. And I just volunteered once a year for the next 6 years, but I really look forward to it, and I couldn't wait to do it again. And then after 6 years, it was like, okay, there were some professional models involved, and they said, Rachel, you're really natural at this. Have you thought about doing it? I've got 3 children, so by that time my youngest was probably about 11, so it was a time when I had a little bit more freedom. And so I just thought, well, what have I got to lose? I'll send off photos to agencies across the country. And originally I got signed by IMM in London, which was my first kind of real, okay, I've got to take this seriously. And it just grew from there. So I kind of fell into it, I guess, without really having any expectations.
Well, that's a nice way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, and now I've become so passionate about it. I absolutely love doing what I'm doing.
And what's the reaction when people kind of found out that you had made that leap? Because it's like, some people go, are you crazy, Rachel? What you're doing, kind of like leaving the safe job behind, becoming a model, or was it really positive?
I think, yeah, to my face it was really positive. I'm not sure what they were saying behind my back, but I think from my 40s I did start saying yes to lots of different things in life. So I did all sorts of charity events, and I went to Uganda and worked in orphanages. So I'd had a kind of, my back catalogue of saying yes and doing different things had grown by that point. So they weren't really surprised that I was doing something a bit different. And they've all been really supportive. My kids have been super supportive of it.
But they must see how happy it makes you and how passionate you are about it.
Yeah.
But it's about taking that leap and having these experiences. You were saying you've had more experiences in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And that is just an amazing, when you realise that you're doing something that takes you on a path and a road where you're experiencing things you never thought you would, or in different types of people, different, countries, different, worlds, different industries. It's just so exciting, and I love being challenged.
And I think that's what you've both done. You've both taken that leap. You turned what was a hobby into your dream, really. And it does take a lot of bravery to do that. What would you say to women that maybe now are in their midlife and are thinking, I want to, but I don't know how? What advice would you give them?
I would say, for me personally, I would do it with a partner, because I found it quite lonely at the beginning. And there are pros and cons to both. So you can have a really bad fallout with a partner where you can disagree and go different ways. And I have heard that as well. But at the same time, for me personally, I like having a sounding board. I like having someone who supports you. I like having someone where you support them and it's this, give and take. So I think it's really important if you do set something up to have someone who has a complementary skill set to yours. It has to be completely opposite to yours. Don't, go with a friend just because you're so similar. I mean, at the beginning, everyone I hired was basically a kind of yellow, which is basically a creative in the Myers-Briggs chart. And then I realized, I need some blue people who are the more process-driven people. So I think it's really important to have the yin to your yang. But I think it's just a confidence to go for something. Don't always talk about what you want to do. Actually start writing it down, make a plan, make it happen.
Is that what you would say?
Yeah, and it also doesn't matter if you start small, just make that first step. Because I think sometimes people think they've got to, if it is a business, that they've got to do things in such a big dramatic way. But it might be that you just take that first step and get out there and sell somewhere in a market, or like you did. You've got to just put yourself out there and take that first step and then see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, you said you didn't have, a partner on that journey. You had a really supportive family, and especially your mum, because she really developed your creativity. How important has she been?
I mean, even now, when I took my mother into our first store, she was like, "Did you design this?" And I was like, "Well, obviously I designed it with a team, and I have an amazing team, and nothing, I would never take credit for other people's work." But I was like, yes, a lot of it was my, inspiration, my mood board. I'll choose every color, every finish. She loves seeing what we've created. And I think it's about having that tangible product. There's something that you can actually pick up and hold, or touch and feel, and that's something that she's so proud. But also, I think our family had roots years and years and years ago in retail, so they're like, "Yay, you're bringing back retail to the family." So that's really exciting, and it's exciting now to be on this new sort of stage of our journey, which is bricks and mortar, which is retail, having been originally more of a pure play D2C brand. So yeah, no, that my whole family have always been so supportive.
And they really are part of it, because I love the idea behind the name of your brand. It's a little bit of all of you in it. Explain to Rachel, because this is just so wonderful.
So it's my mother, Michelle, my sister, Sophie, and I'm the Marisa. So that's Missoma, yeah. And I still rely on my sister's advice as well. She's got an amazing eye. She's always right. She always says, "You'd just be happier if you listened to me." In life, she's just worldly wise.
That's what sisters have to do, and have to say.
She is right. She's always right. So no, I'm very lucky. I have a very supportive family. And there were years where, I had to make, ends meet, like doing the QVC, the shop NBCs to try and bring in money, or I did white labeling production for, big, retailers, because you have to bring in the money when you're a fledgling business somehow. So I think, as you said, you start with something. It's good to have a side gig as well to fall back on, and to help support any business that you're growing.
Absolutely, and that's what you are doing with Liberty Free to Be, aren't you? So not only are you modelling, you are promoting body confidence and the midlife journey and that empowerment. Tell us a little bit about that community.
Yeah, so I started a podcast back in 2018. I had finished it last year. I'm having a break from it because I did it for nearly every week for 8 years. So that was a lot of women that I interviewed. But I interviewed women over the age of 40, just sharing their life stories. And women are just amazing. They just constantly amaze me, and particularly as they get older, because we have got so much wisdom. So it's building a community around that show. So women write blogs of their experiences, and I share that on my website. I do lots of talks about body confidence now, and I do it in my bra and knickers, because what better way to kind of break that stigma around seeing older women's bodies than to stand there.
Yeah.
Are
you seeing a change? Are you seeing women now feeling that they can be more confident because maybe we're having more discussions about body confidence?
Yes and no. I think there are still a lot of women that do struggle with their confidence later in life. I do come across a lot of women when I talk to them that I say they really are struggling still. But it's great that we are having these conversations to open it up.
I think it is important to have role models like yourself, and even in your sector with jewellery, you're bringing in older models.
Yes,
saying that to show representations.
Yes, exactly. And we just did a photo shoot last week, and I was saying that I just brought in a model who's actually my age, because I keep on trying to tell the team, like, there are women out there who've grown up with our brand, and we need to still keep talking to them. And because a lot of my team are much younger, they're in their 20s and 30s, I'm like, can we please have someone who's a little bit older? Because, you know, they're the ones who supported the brand from the beginning, and I want them to continue growing with it. So I was so happy to finally, you know, have someone that I felt truly did represent, you know, my age group. I'm always the one doing it.
Because, you know, we are stylish, as you say, kind of stylish women, but sometimes you do, I think, get lost in your style along the way. I think there's a time in your life where you're like, can I wear that? Is that right? You know, what
Is that skirt too short now? Is my hair too long now? Yeah.
Absolutely. You almost question yourself. But I think then maybe we come out of that and develop a new style, almost like a little bit like a caterpillar.
Yeah, definitely. And I think women get told so many rules, don't they? You shouldn't wear this, you shouldn't wear that, and you open up a newspaper.
Don't show your arms. Show your arms. I'm like, what?
And I think the older you get, you are more connected to how you feel about your body and how the clothes make you feel, and that's actually what we should be going on. Not these rules. It should be, if you wear that suit today, you look amazing in it. If that's made you feel confident today and nobody else liked it, it didn't matter. It's about what it makes you, how it makes you feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And I think that's another thing with jewellery. I think jewellery sometimes is the last thing you put on, and it can just be that finishing touch, just the same way that a red lipstick might be, or a red nail, or it could be, I don't know, but whatever it is for you, there is always that one thing that just makes you feel, okay, I'm ready to go out now and face the world. And it just gives you that little extra confidence boost. And it doesn't matter what it is, because it can be just psychosomatic, but it's meaningful, and it's meaningful to you. I have to say, I like working with all my millennials and Gen Z, because I now dress younger, and I really embrace that. And actually, they keep me sort of, you know, feeling young, cool.
Well, there shouldn't be an age on it. We should throw the rule book out. I mean, I've got to say, one thing that I have started to love is pockets.
Yes.
I like skirts with pockets. I like trousers with pockets. I just collect a lot of things, Marisa.
Yes.
I really, really do. But getting back to the jewellery side of it, I think it's really important, because jewellery does give you that added confidence. It also helps you make a bit of a statement about who you are and your identity, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And I think you can be a different person on different days, depending on how you feel. And sometimes you need that extra bit of emotional support. Sometimes, you know, you're just exhausted and you just need something to give you a little bit of a boost. But one of my favourite stories was, this girl once said to me that she had the Roman Arc, one of our like sort of iconic necklaces, and she said her and all her friends had bought it. And whenever one or the other had a big moment, like a job interview or something that was, you know, important, and they all wore it, and it was like their kind of warrior necklace.
That's so nice.
And they were, you know, wearing it in solidarity. And I just thought that is so special.
Yeah.
It really does. Yeah, it means a lot when you hear stories like that.
And then also there's things like the engravings that we see that people write to, you know, whether it's their mother, or for a new mother who's just, you know, had, you know, a little one, or, you know, to their girlfriend or their partner. And it's just, there's something so personal, and then you treasure that, and you kind of touch and feel it sometimes during the day as a reminder. Or maybe it's your birthstone and your, you know, your birth date behind, or your initials. And it's just a very personal, emotive purchase.
Yeah. Are you like that with clothes? You know, in terms of, is there a particular item that you can put on and go, do you know what, that gives me confidence? Is it when you're wearing particular colours?
It's usually bold colours, and I'm not going bold today, but it is usually, I do wear a lot of red and pinks. But like you said, it depends on how I wake up in the morning. It depends what mood I'm in. Every day is different. So I don't have a kind of certain style. I think I can look very different tomorrow to what I do today. I love clothes. I was the one that was in the dressing up box at school that you had to be dragged out because I would stop, I wouldn't stop wanting to dress up. I love being able to change and express our personalities through what we're wearing and how we're feeling.
And that must be great, being a model and going on these shoots. What's it like behind the scenes? I've always kind of wondered, is it as glamorous as some of those shots look?
Not at all. It can be. I mean, I've been on some amazing locations, but there's a lot of hanging around. There's a lot of waiting around. It's useful to take a good book with you. But I love doing what I'm doing because there's an opportunity to meet different people, get different looks. Some of the looks that I've had I don't necessarily like, but it's how you then portray that and make it look as best it can be, and that's my job as a model. So it's not about, you know, necessarily how I feel in it, it's about how I can make it look. So I like that, even that I like, because it's a challenge.
Yeah, and every day is different, isn't it? And you were saying you work with like a variety of people as well, but you do get them all together around that original kitchen table in your office, don't you? So it's almost like grounding yourself of where it began.
Our town halls, your sort of weekly, you know, meeting to the whole team is around the kitchen table, and it's actually just called the kitchen table meeting. And that's when different departments will come and present what they're doing, so that there is that whole ethos of collaboration. Everyone understands what the other departments are doing, and we really try and make sure there's a lot of cross-departmental collaboration, because I think that's what makes the most productive and passionate team. So for me, it's all about company culture. And I think that, you know, whilst, you know, other bigger companies might have different types of perks, for us, the perks is the socials that we bring, the fun that we have. We work hard, but we, you know, play hard as well. But there is this shared passion for what we're doing, what we're creating, what we're putting out, what we're saying, what we're supporting, what we're standing for. And I think that brings me as much joy as seeing people wearing the jewellery.
Yeah, because they're believing in what you believed in when you started the brand.
It's having something that you can all really get behind.
And they seem a lovely team, because I've been on your socials and I loved what you did for International Women's Day, which we've just had. And it's like everyone was passing the mic to each other, and there were some really strong females of loads of ages, but saying so much positive things about each other, which was wonderful.
Well, we're 91% female, because I actually just got the stats because I wanted to make sure I had it right for you. And we're at now, you know, over 100 people, and we're 91% female, which, you know, I'm really proud of. I mean, obviously, you know, we are creating, you know, jewellery, but at the same time, there are people who come into the business who don't necessarily wear jewellery, don't necessarily love jewellery. And by the time they leave, they love jewellery. And it's because of, you know, the culture, how it's made, you know, seeing the process, you know, behind the design, behind bringing it to life, the branding, the, you know, every department is so involved. And I think that everyone can have a voice. And so there's no stupid ideas. Everyone should feel confident enough to, you know, go into anyone's room or raise their hand or sort of give an idea. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, that is refreshing to hear that, you know, a business is doing that. And, you know, from yourself, from the stories that you've heard on your podcast, I mean, that's like a game changer, right, for women?
Yeah, but it's brilliant. I think it's so good. And I think actually we're seeing an increase in this, aren't we? The stats are for women that are in their 40s and 50s that are starting up these incredible businesses and then employing female, you know, led teams. That's the future, and that's how we're going to grow. And it's just brilliant to see.
Absolutely.
And I think it's about being flexible as well with new mums when they come back to work, because so many of my team are obviously, you know, at the age where they're having children. I just had a baby last year, and I think it's being understanding that, you know, they have to come in a bit later or leave a bit earlier, or, you know, if there's a nativity play, if there's a doctor's appointment, whatever it might be, to be flexible, because then they're so much more passionate about where they work because they're given that flexibility. And I think it's really important as a female-led brand. There are certain things that we can't do, but that's one of the things we can do.
Yeah. And I think if you do those things, people want to give more because they feel like you've actually listened to them. They actually feel heard. Yeah. I'm really interested in the design process because, you know, I heard about the model. These are fantastic jobs. What is that like? How do you get it from, you know, maybe from sketches to what we wear on ourselves?
I mean, it is such a process. And actually, I love talking about it because I don't think that many people realise the craftsmanship that goes in behind the scenes. It takes about a year from initial concept and sketch to when we launch it. That's how long the life cycle is, because, you know, these pieces are all handmade. Like my bracelet, this tennis bracelet, takes about 24 hours to make if you add up the hours. And so we have sketches, then we come together, we decide which is the final range, put it all together as a team, and then we go to the technical specification. stage, which is all done in Illustrator. Then we go to CAD, so 3D renderings. And then, my favorite thing, we bought a 3D printer a few years ago. So then we print the 3D, molds, which actually has really helped because then it's one less, I would say, if not two less journeys that the piece is having to be sent over to us. So it saves time, but it also is more sustainable. And then we can try it on and really see the volume, the scale, etc. We'll do tweaks along the way to the CAD, to the 3D printing, etc. Then it goes to a silver, a master silver model. And then obviously it goes through the process of casting, filing, setting, polishing, plating, blah-de-blah. There is so many stages in that process. I mean, even plating alone might have 5 different stages, and QC is at every single different stage, quality control.
Right.
And then we have our own quality control people in our partner factories, which are in India and in Thailand. And then we have our own distribution centre as well in the UK. So everything comes into our own warehouse. We have, again, another quality control there. So there's about 4 stages during the process, another one in the UK. And then, yeah.
Wow. And then you finally get the piece and you're like,
that's the best moment, when you actually get the sample and it exceeds your expectations. That is amazing. But yeah, and then we also do wear tests. So we do pre-production orders to make sure that it can be produced the way that we have sampled it. But then we also do wear tests. That's everyone's favourite stage in the company, because you kind of go, right, rush over if you want to get a wear test, and they have to wear it for 6 to 8 weeks. So yeah, there's...
Well, 6 to 8 weeks of wearing the jewellery.
I know. Imagine when it's diamonds. I mean, yeah, they love it.
Oh, it's just like a girl's world. I'm like, oh, pick this and pick that. I mean, your family and friends must love what you do. Your children, well, I say they're children, they're grown up. They've been coming with you on a photo shoot. Mum is seriously cool, yeah?
Yeah, no, I just done the Cloud9 Mother's Day campaign with my 2 daughters.
Oh, that was
which was so lovely. So they're 25 and 22.
And gorgeous.
Really,
I've got to say, absolutely
one's
gorgeous.
got really curly hair and one's got gorgeous, very thick, long hair. And they're very different. And we just had such a lovely day. And you know what was nice? To see their confidence grow from the morning until the to the end of the shoot, because at the beginning they were a bit nervous.
Yeah.
Was it their first shoot themselves?
Probably our last. But it was really special. And actually my son managed to sneak into the shoot at the end of the day, so I have got a lovely photo of all of us, which was so special.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Something to treasure.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see them stepping in front of the camera again, honestly.
It was lovely to work together with them, yeah.
Do they nick your clothes as well? Do they ask for style advice off Mum?
No, they have used a lot of my makeup recently. I noticed that whenever they come round, they will help themselves and things will go missing. But they've all moved out now and they're living their own best independent lives. So stuff's a bit safer at home than it used to be.
I'm just on that journey. I've got a 14-year-old daughter, and there's a few items of mine that are going missing. I'm like, where have they
makeup,
gone?
the jewellery.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's no shortage of jewellery, So it's kind of like, oh, Marisa, there's just something that can I wear that tonight?
Well, I now have a lot of sort of 14-year-old goddaughters, all my friends' daughters. They're all going, why isn't she my godmother? Because basically I take them to get pierced or welded or their first, piece of jewellery.
Oh, but
so now I'm in high demand.
That's introducing them to kind of their own journey, right?
Yeah. I get in trouble sometimes, though, with the parents when I offer a piercing without checking. I've learned that. I made that mistake once. But no, I always win.
What would you say or recommend people, starting their jewellery journey? What's good kind of like capsule investments? What do you start off with?
So I think it depends on the age, because I think if we are talking, 14, 16-year-old, it's like a nice little pair of Huggies or like a pair of little studs, something very small, very delicate, very lightweight. I think, we have different personas that we talk to. So we have our subtly stylish woman, and then we have our statement maker. So our statement maker might be a bold pair of the wavy ridge studs, something really oversized, or a pair of chubby hoops. It's like one statement piece. But our subtly stylish woman might be one, beautiful snake chain, or the birthstone necklace. So we have different things for different, people, because everyone's different. And then it's about building up that confidence if you want to layer more. So I think you can just have that starter for 10, and we have an everyday essentials section, which just helps give you that inspiration. And I think our styling shoots are really good at giving that inspiration of how to wear it.
I love the layering that you do, because I just think it just feels really like just cool, you know?
Yeah, I love layering. I mean, and I like things that are easy. I mean, I wear on repeat. Our jewellery is for every day, and it's not for a season. It is to be worn on repeat, you know, for years, and then you can mix it up. You can mix it with vintage, with other brands. But it is jewellery to really enjoy every single day, you know, whether you're dressing it up or dressing it down.
And great for Mother's Day. I'm going to be knocking on my husband's door because, you know, Mother's Day, right? You get these gifts and you think, do I really need another cup in my life? You know,
Best mother
I know where the sentiment is coming
Or a
from.
candle.
And my husband went through a spate of getting me these books that like Why Mummy Drinks. I don't know what that says about me, but jewellery would be really nice, just putting it out there. Is there any one thing that you might recommend? What's your best seller? I think it's the coin chain.
So our Roman arc is actually one of our best sellers. You just cannot go wrong with it. I mean, I think that, you know, one goes out every hour or something. It is so iconic now, but you can engrave the back, and that's what's so beautiful. So you can engrave the initials or the birth date or the, you know, meaningful message. But if you're not sure about that, you know, there's also, you know, a beautiful round locket, and you can put a picture inside. You can engrave the back. There's a sort of message in a bottle that's my favorite, where we spent a year and a half developing it. It's got this beautiful screw top, and you take it off, and there's this parchment scroll inside, and you write a little message. And then you put it back in, screw it back up, and it's a beautiful sort of like sculptural, you know, ergonomic, sort of very nice to feel pendant.
That definitely beats a mug. Have you had any corkers, Rachel, over Mother's Days?
Yeah, I once had a card from my son, bless him, who had obviously panic bought the last minute and bought me a "You're like a mum to me" card, and then had to cross it out. So not like. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. I don't think I've gone that far yet. Yeah, just to kind of embarrass him in his later life. You know, when it's like, "You're just like a dad to me." Yeah, that's that moment. Oh. And Mother's Day for you, it's going to be really special this year. It was your first one in the UK as a mum. You've got little Alessandro.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah, no, we're so excited. I think we do family lunch every Sunday, and so, you know, for years and years and years, I have my nephew who's 16 and my niece who's 10. You know, I have been there with them and my mum, my sister and I. And I think it'll be so nice this year to be bringing Maxie. Well, sorry, I nickname him Maxie, Alessandro, just to be complicated. To lunch, you know. Normally he's, you know, having a little siesta, but this time I think I'll bring him to lunch, and they all just dote on him. So it's really nice to have that.
I love it. And has your style changed since becoming a mum, do you think? Has that become any different? I mean, I've got to say, with the British weather, that was when I invested in a coat with a hood.
Oh yes.
You know, if you're out with a friend
all the time, yes.
You can't hold an umbrella.
No.
And it's like, I need a coat with a hood.
Yeah, they have the nice sort of, you know, clear cover, and then you've got nothing.
I know, exactly. And then that's it. Your hair is ruined and you look an absolute...
Yeah, and there's little caps.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, I'm normally hiding if I'm walking the pram in just like a big anorak trainers and a cap. But no, I don't think so. I was saying earlier, I think I'm more confident than I've ever been. And I think it's something about, as we said, you know, I'm in my mid-40s, just now those years of experience behind us. Just, we've learned so much along the way. I just feel like I've grown into myself. I feel I was growing into myself in my 30s. Now I feel more confident than ever. And I'm just really, as you said, loving life. And so actually I'm taking more risks than ever.
But that's what we're just doing.
Absolutely.
It's like you saying yes to things,
yeah.
you know. I challenge you then for the rest of the day, you're going to have to say yes to everything that comes in your way. Is that okay?
Okay.
This could go quite wrong. You get a phone call and it's like, what did you say to her?
Exactly. I'm sure there's a film about that.
There is,
yeah.
I think so. Now, as you are a model, I've got to ask you, who is your style icon?
Oh, gosh. Do you know what? I love vintage and I love the old films. So I do people like Sophia Loren, people like that, back in history. I look to them, but I would love to have some wardrobe clothes that style that, yeah.
It's the glamour, isn't it?
Is,
That old
school
kind of
glamour.
Hollywood kind of like, yeah. What about yourself?
Do you know, I was thinking about this earlier. You know, it sounds cheesy, but my mother, she's incredibly stylish. The other day, she brought around a jacket for me. In fact, 2 jackets in the last week. I'm very lucky. And she brought one over from the 80s, and she was like, I think this would look really good on you. I kept it. I was like, yes, it's so great. I'm waiting to wear it. And then the other day, she brought around, another little jacket that she no longer wears. So I'm kind of just living in I don't know, her vintage era.
You're like my 14-year-old daughter.
You never go around it.
We never lose it, do we? We never lose it.
But also she inspires, like, my jewellery style. Like, I look at some of the sort of now, the earrings that we're designing, and they're definitely the type of earrings that she was wearing, in the 80s or the 90s. She was always just very stylish, but in that accessible way. And I think that's what's always really important. You do want things also to be accessible. Of course, once in a while, you dress up and, you wouldn't normally dress like that. But I like things to be achievable. Otherwise you look at things that you can never achieve. And I think it's got to be relatable.
Yeah. The 80s, it's funny that you brought that up. I was going to ask you, what is your favourite style decade? Is that the 80s, or do you like the 80s?
I think kind of different things from different eras. I buy a lot of vintage, actually, and recently, I've definitely been buying a lot of vintage. And the other day, I found this leather jacket from this vintage store that was by this little known, and I shouldn't say little known, but I don't think she was that well known, but I loved her, called Helen Story, in the 90s. I remember going to one of her fashion shows. I remember it was my first fashion show that I've ever been to. So awestruck. It was, London Fashion Week. And I don't know what happened to her, but she was the most incredible designer. I found this leather jacket by her, and it had these amazing zips kind of curling down. It was just very kind of like Kate Moss 90s. Anyway, I feel very cool in it.
Oh, lovely. I like that. What about your decade?
I do love the 70s. I used to have my own vintage store before I did this part-time. That was my kind of hobby. So I used to go around to all the vintage fairs and sell vintage. So 70s for me. I love the,
so you
the flares.
have your own
I have my own vintage business. It's called All About Eve. I loved it. Absolutely.
All About Eve, like the film?
Eve, the film.
You see?
Yeah, I loved it. So I do have a lot of vintage pieces in my wardrobe. So yeah.
Have you got some as well in the loft from the store? Can we come round?
No, I did sell a lot of it because there's only so many clothes you can keep, but I've kept the best bits. I've got some favourites.
I mean, vintage is great, isn't it?
It is, it really is. One thing I struggled with, because I'm a size 16, it's harder to find bigger clothes in vintage, but you can find it out there. And I used to get a lot of men's vintage tailored, like men's suits and jackets and blazers to fit me. Yeah. So I love that. I love the kind of romance of clothes and the stories behind them.
That's cool. You've got the height as well.
And even secondhand. I buy a lot of secondhand as well, because, it's almost new. And especially, in any major city, there's a lot of secondhand designer stores, and I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
So...
Well, that just kind of buys into your sustainability. You've got sustainability going on with your jewellery, but, with the clothes and everything, reusing the clothes. And I think, one of the people who does that really well in the public eye is the Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton. Yeah. And I love that. And, when you see these stories and it's kind of like, oh, she's wearing the same dress, but, yeah, she's wearing it for a reason. So we can allow ourselves to do that, right?
And some of them are from years ago, and she's tweaked them, and they're always, so current and up to date. She's actually reworn quite a lot of our things, many times as well. So we're always, so thrilled to see her re-wearing our pieces as well. Again, years apart, so it shows that it really is jewellery that lasts.
And I've got to say, this is something that I started. I don't like to say New Year's resolutions because I don't believe in resolutions. You're always set up to fail when you do these resolutions. But one thing I thought, and this will definitely, I think, resonate with yourself, jewellery that I have, I will tend to just go to the same piece a lot, especially during the week. It's like I'll put studs on, I'll have this particular bracelet, and you collect jewellery over the years and it just sits there sometimes. So I challenge myself to kind of rotate and really kind of go, no, don't just save it for best.
Exactly. I think that's a real problem when people... My mother's definitely of that ilk where she just saves things and saves things, never wears it. Whereas I'm a real wearer, get the most use out of it. And sometimes I do think, is this too nice to be wearing to the office? And I think, yeah, but when else am I going to wear it? The office is my life. Like, in actual fact, I mean, that's where I live my best life. So I want to wear, you know, these pieces. Otherwise, they don't get used. And I mean, that's all clothes, jewelry, everything. But it's bring it out, enjoy it, wear it. You also never know what's going to happen in life. Who you're going to see, where you're going to be, what you're going to do. Yeah. Be prepared for anything.
Exactly. And if you love the dress, wear it again.
Exactly.
Wear it again, wear it again. And I really like what you do on your socials, because you're like, we see your outfits from day to day, and she's there with her husband, who is seriously, cool.
So cool.
And the music and the strutting, I'm like, wow, you need your own series. You really do. And is that what's important for you, to kind of have that adventure in your outfits and also share that?
Yeah, because it is part of your personality, isn't it? And I think what's one of the beauties about getting older is I'm not scared to show my personality, and I probably hid it for a lot of my time in my 20s and 30s. So now it's like, well, this is how I woke up feeling today, and my clothes will express that. And I'm lucky that my husband has the same sort of passion for fashion, and has got a great style of sense. So we're having good fun with it. And I love doing it. And I love being able to hopefully inspire other women to try maybe bolder outfits, or try putting a different combination together and using the clothes they've got in the wardrobe, because I really do have a mix of stuff. Some clothes I've had in my wardrobe for 20 years, and then I'll wear that with a jacket that I've just bought yesterday. So it's mixing it up, and I think showing that really it's good fun.
Yeah, inspiring people to just kind of give it a go and maybe have a little bit of a play.
Yeah, I love the way you say it's an extension to your personality. It's so true. I think that's what fashion should be. It's the outward, version of you. Yeah. It's what you choose to show to the world. And I agree. My husband also loves fashion and loves to be a bit playful and bold and daring. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God. But, then I realise how much he loves it. And if I try and box him in, I'm actually stopping him from being himself. So I need to also go, no, that's all right. You be you. You do you. And that's what we all need to, that's what we all want for ourselves.
Yeah. Absolutely. And what is the goal going forward? Because I know you've got Liberty Free to Be. What are the plans to kind of spread more empowerment and get more women positive in their bodies and their confidence?
I'm halfway through writing a book, which I'm finding much harder for my menopausal brain to do than I first thought it was going to be. So that's taken longer than planned, but it'll be finished by the end of the year.
Have we got a title? Can you reveal the title?
Free to Be. Yes, yeah. And modelling more internationally. So my US visa, fingers crossed, will be through by the end of the year, so I'll be able to go to the States and model. I just keep doing what I'm doing for as long as I can.
Yeah.
And enjoying it.
And enjoying it, yeah.
And yourself, what collections are coming up? Can you tease us with some? Have you got any exciting collaborations?
Well, we have new collaborations coming with our long-standing partners, because we love working with people again and again and again. Once we have relationships, it's for us, it's all about those relationships. They're not here for, again, one season and gone tomorrow. We've got a couple of new exciting ones in the works. And also with, other brands, not just, jewellery, outside of jewellery. We've got a few new stores opening. We have, we've got a lot on. It's always busy, but we love being busy. We love challenging ourselves. We love trying new things. We love thinking outside the box. And I think that's the way I like to live life. And I think it's just a wonderful place to be when some things won't work. Some things will fail. That's okay. And I think going in with that attitude is also really important.
Yeah, and trying things that are new and just seeing how they go. I love the way that she was kind of saying then, what are we doing? You've just been on a photo shoot as well. It's like you're here, there and everywhere.
Yeah, no, this week, I'm in Leeds, obviously today. Then we're all going to Manchester. I know. Apart from the fact that we dressed the same, we're all going to Manchester this afternoon. Then I'm going to Guildford. Then I'm going, I have a Women's Day dinner with another brand that I love. And yeah, it's busy, but I love being busy.
Yeah, no, it is good. I think as women as well, we do. I think if we sat still for a minute, we'd all think something was going horribly wrong.
Yes.
Now, I've got a few quick fire questions for you to finish our podcast. All right. Give me one item of clothing or accessories you couldn't live without, Marisa.
Hoops. Hoops all the way.
Hoops all the way?
Never go wrong with hoops.
That was really quick.
It was. If you need one thing, you just grab the hoops.
Yeah. How big of a hoop?
It all depends on you. Like, there's no rule. Like, I go quite big, but I'm more is more. But other people just, small, little everyday hoops. Mm-hmm. There's no rules, like we were saying.
Yeah.
For me, it would be a black leather biker jacket.
Oh, yeah.
What, the one with the swirls?
My head. I'm going to show it to you after.
Show me.
I mean, I wish I could tell you where to get it, but it's vintage.
Okay, give me one trend that you would save.
Oh, gosh, that's a hard one.
I know. You've got thinking time, Marisa.
Yeah, even that is hard.
That's a hard one.
What kind of item then, I suppose, could you
Wide
live with?
leg trousers.
I would say the same.
White?
Wide legged
I thought
trousers.
you said white trousers. I was like, oh, that's a bit controversial.
So I was thinking flared trousers too.
Yeah, no, I do like a wide trouser.
That goes back to your love of the 70s.
Yes.
And I love a wide, like flowing kind of 70s flared trouser too.
Okay, well, which one would you banish? What trend would you banish? What have you not liked over the years? If you could put it in a locker and go, that shut forever.
Those puffball skirts in the 80s. I never pull that off.
I had one,
I did.
and you think, why?
Yeah.
I used to have over the knee socks. Do you remember that trend in the 90s?
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness.
I know. Oh, there's a lot actually in the 90s that I would like to kind of get rid of. Those photos, and you think they come back to haunt you, don't they?
do. Although thank God we didn't have, smartphones then.
Yes.
Yeah, and social media. Some of those pictures were very different. Well, do you know what? I have absolutely loved having you here in our wonderful podcast studio. I hope you've enjoyed it.
I really have, thank you.
It's been so fun.
Really good fun.
I feel like I've got some style tips.
Yeah.
We've had a little bit of
We're
advice.
go and get pierced or welded, whatever you want.
Yes, yeah.
We
And
certainly
then there's
are.
always Manchester.
Yeah.
We've got to say yes, haven't we?
Absolutely, that's it.
Yes, exactly.
Let's go shopping.
Ask me anything, I can only say yes. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.